Cox Cable Omaha presents Omaha Royals Baseball. Tonight, the Columbus Clippers come in town to take on the Omaha Royals.
I can hear.
From Rosenblatt Stadium, live on Cox Cable, welcome to Cox Cable's Omaha Sports Weekly. And this week, of course, we're carrying the Omaha Royals as they take on the International League member Columbus Clippers. I'm Torrey Pantaleon along with Fred Girardi. And Fred, I'll tell you one thing right now. This is going to be a treat for those of you who follow baseball, mainly because of what Columbus is. It's the AAA farm club for the New York Yankees. But, of course, our Omaha Royals, for years we've known AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals, but we've got a couple of contenders here.
Well, no question. Columbus is just a game and a half right now behind their division leader. Columbus coming in has had pretty much the same type of a year that the Omaha Royals have had. The Columbus Express from Columbus to New York. We've had the I-29 Express from Omaha to Kansas City. Both clubs struggling to maintain, the lead and to remain contenders, and yet having to deal with what they're all about, and that's bringing and training players for the big leagues.
Well, of course, people will recognize the name of the manager of the Columbus Ball Club, and people will remember him for what happened in the 1978 American League East playoff game.
Never forget it.
Never
forget it.
Yeah,
Bucky Dent hit the Green Monster and won the playoff game for the Yankees over your beloved Red Sox.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But he's done a good job. He's stayed with Columbus now. I believe this is his third or fourth season with the Clippers. And, for George to leave somebody alone for that long and let him do his thing is almost unheard of. So Bucky must be doing a good job.
You can tell us a little bit about these guys.
Okay, Tony Manners will be behind the plate tonight. Tom Owen at first and Angel Hernandez.
And the home Royals take the field as they come into this ball game, a game behind Denver and Iowa in the American Association West. The Zephyrs and the Cubs both sitting at 38 and 30. The Royals at 37 and 31. And Columbus is a game and a half behind Rochester in the International League Western Division. The Red Wings are 41 and 28, and the Clippers are 40 and 30. Couple of hot ball clubs. Of course, the Royals, Fred, were having a feast on International League competition, and then they ran into the Tidewater Tides.
Yeah, they sure did. They had a lot of trouble with them. In fact, the Royals played fairly good the 2 weeks they were on the road when the College World Series was in here. They were over 500 on the road and then came home. It was almost like, well, we're glad to be home. We're exhausted, and they just went through the motions, but they're bouncing back, and they got a great pitching performance last night out of Swaggerty.
Yeah, super.
And
super
that
job.
evened this three-game series at a game apiece. So this is the swing game.
Well, Luis Aquino is on the mound for the Royals, and he has an assortment of pitches. He has four: a fastball, a slider, throws a breaking curve as opposed to a straight curve. Huh?
Yeah.
And he has a changeup. Fred, you can run down the Clippers lineup for us.
Okay, there's a fellow that started the year in New York City in center field, playing center field tonight for the Columbus Clippers, Roberto Kelly, with a .327 batting average. Turner Ward will bat second and play left field. Wayne Krenichicki, a brand new name to the Columbus Clippers, just joined the club, is at third base. Hal Morris bats cleanup and will play first base. Ross Jones is the designated hitter tonight. Casey Close in right field. Alvaro Espinosa at short. Berto Pena at second, and Glenn Sherlock is the catcher. And, of course, Eric Schmidt is on the mound tonight, and with the DH, of course, does not bat.
I love that name. That's a baseball name, Alvaro Espinosa. Huh?
Definitely a collector's item card.
Is that anything like Celerino Sanchez? Huh? Speaking about Yankees.
Well, they're in a big series right now with Detroit tonight.
Yeah, your friend gave you a nice harassment call. Your friend's a Tiger fan. He called you up and he said, "Are you ready to be in second place after tonight?" Huh?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Defensively, the Royals have Nick Capra in left, Loggins in center, Jeff Schultz in right. First base is Scotty Madison, Rondon Johnson at second, Dave Owens the shortstop, Jose Castro at third, Danny Bilardello behind the plate, and as Torrey mentioned, Luis Aquino on the mound.
Roberto Kelly steps up. He'll be batting in from the right side. batting at .327 with 2 home runs and 14 runs batted in. And as Fred said, this young man started the season in New York City. Fred, a lot of people say this guy should not be in AAA baseball.
Well, I don't think so. He belongs in New York. However, they brought Jay Buhner up earlier, about 2 weeks ago. Jay Buhner was just tearing the cover off the ball down here at Columbus, and they brought him up and installed him in center field. But I saw Kelly down at Fort Lauderdale during spring training, and to me, with his speed and with his defensive ability, if he could hit major league pitching, there's no question his future is going to be out by the monuments in center field in New York.
Off the fist, right side, RJ. Rondon Johnson out at second base, and we have 1 down. And that'll bring up Turner Ward. Ward on the year, batting .263, has 3 home runs, 21 runs batted in. He's a starter in left field. You know, you talked about going to spring training in Fort Lauderdale. What, did Rose pay for you to go down there?
No, as a matter of fact, I went down on a baseball umpiring trip and worked a bunch of ball games. Creighton University was down there at the time in March, and we got to see the Yankees play a couple of times when we had off days.
What is it with you Italians? Ron Luciano, the umpire. Fred Girardi is an umpire.
You know, we talk with our hands, so we might as well do it where we get paid, right?
That pitch just hits the outside corner. Now, Aquino, he'll throw you heat, and then he likes to come back with a changeup. And even though the opponents might be aware of that, it's a tough thing to handle, especially to make the changeup effective. Of course, you don't change your delivery style.
That's right. You have to throw it with the same arm motion, and I don't care how good you are. You know, most professional ball players, especially this level, are all geared for the heat. And so when you get an off-speed pitch, it's tough to adjust.
Oh, he caught him looking on the outside part of the plate.
All 3 pitches, it looked like, were in the same spot. He didn't believe the first 2 were called strikes, but I guess he believes now that after 3 of them, he can go sit down.
So Ward is called out on strikes, and that'll bring up the number 3 hitter, a newcomer to the ball club. He's so new, we have zeros for him as a Clipper, Wayne Krenchicki. Now this guy, you might remember him. He played in the majors with Baltimore. He came up with the Orioles, went on to Cincinnati. He started this season in Tacoma, Washington.
Well, here's a little something on Krenchicki. 195 batting average, no homers, 2 RBIs with the Cardinals. Or is that, no, excuse me, with Louisville. With Louisville.
Well, you're right, the Redbirds, you know, the Cardinal organization. Took a little bit off that one, and that's over for a strike.
Tony Manners working the plate tonight, as we started to give you that just before the national anthem. Tom Owen is over at first, and Angel Hernandez is at third. This is the crew that made national history here a few weeks ago when especially the plate umpire, Mr. Manners, threw out Lambert Bartak, the organist, for playing the Mickey Mouse song.
Well, what he did was he made Lambert a national hero for about
at least
a couple of days. Easy.
24, 48 hours. Paul Harvey had him on the new news the next day.
Right, another one that makes Andy Warhol's statement good.
That's right. Everybody's going to be famous for what, 1 day or
15 seconds
or something like that. Yeah.
So Lambert owes time then. He went longer than 15 seconds. 3 balls and 2 strikes to count to Krenchicki. 2 down. We're at the top of the first, and there's no score. Luis Aquino. And again, Krenchicki doing a good job to protect the plate.
If we mention that Aquino is 3-3 on the season so far and has a 3.34 ERA coming into this ball game.
Of course, the Royals losing Rick Anderson just the other day. He called up to Kansas City. Hits that changeup straight up. That's playable. Dan Billardello over by the camera box on the first base side, and he makes the grab in foul territory. And the Clippers are out in order in the top of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. As we go to the bottom of the first, it's Columbus nothing, with the Omaha Royals coming to bat.
The Royals also have a new face on the roster tonight. Rich Thompson joined the Royals from Memphis, replacing Rick Anderson, who you just talked about, going up. And so far this season with Memphis, he is 3-5 on the year with a 4.15 ERA, and he was signed as a free agent at the start of the season by the Royals organization. The Royals dipped very heavily into the free agent market this year.
That's unlike them. That's uncharacteristic of the big club.
Well, 99% of those players were put here at Omaha, and I think that was partly because now Gus Cherry wanted a contender here. And that was part of their agreement, was to get some players here that were going to help not only the big club in Kansas City, but that could help Royals baseball here in Omaha. And if you have a contender, then you're going to draw some people.
Let's take a look at the Royals starting lineup. Leading off and in left field will be Nick Capra. The number 2 hitter for the Royals will be the second baseman, Rondon Johnson. Luis De Los Santos, you want to talk about a hitting clinic? You watch this young man. He's in the number 3 spot. He's also the DH. The number 4 hitter, first baseman, Scotty Madison. He'll be followed by Jeff Schultz in right field. Mike Loggins is in center field. He'll bat 6th. Jose Castro, the third baseman, batting 7th. The number 8 hitter is Dan Billardello, the catcher, and number 9, the shortstop, Dave Owen, who is the brother of the Boston Red Sox Spike Owen.
Eric Schmidt's on the mound for Columbus. He's a right-hander, as you can see, 25 years old. Comes into this ball game with a 1-4 record. He's been in 12 games. He's only started 3 of them and has not completed any. 43 2/3 innings, struck out 19 and walked 18, and he has an ERA of 4.12. And he will be making his first appearance against Omaha. He lost to Denver in his last appearance, June 15th, 5-2. Defensively, we'll set up the Clippers. Left field is Turner Ward. Roberto Kelly patrols center field. Casey Close is in right. First base is Hal Morris. Berto Pena at second. Alvaro Espinosa at short. Wayne Krenchicki is at third. The catchers Glenn Sherlock and Eric Schmidt, as we mentioned, on the mound.
Okay, so the big right-hander ready to face Nick Capra. Capra comes into the game with a .294 batting average. He has 1 home run, but 36 runs batted in, and that is ties him for the lead with Luis De Los Santos. Buddy B in Kalana, I talked to him before the game. He said he's feeling better, but Buddy's still suffering from that back and front. I mean, I can't speak from experience because I've been one of the fortunate people in life. I have never had back problems, but the people I know who have, I mean, it's just completely incapacitates you. You just can't do anything.
Well, it just lasts for so long, and it's nagging, and there's really not much but rest that you can do for it, I guess. That's what's so frustrating. Capra was, early part of this year, was hitting well above 300, and the average came down, but he's a good, steady ball player.
That pitch is over to Capra. Just a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I think there was no doubt that Tony Manners letting everybody know it was a strike.
Everybody pretty much straight away. Although out in center field, Roberto Kelly, couple steps toward the gap at right center, and he's playing shallow. But I mean, when you have wings on your feet, you can play as shallow as you want.
I don't know if a little later we can get a shot at that. There's some people down there right behind the first base press area with it says Tony Manners Fan Club. I don't know whether that's Kelly will get this one easy. I don't know whether that's tongue-in-cheek or what, but they're holding it up now. Tony Manners Fan Club.
Well, there's one away as Kelly, playing the book on Capra, he had to move back, but he was pretty much in the right area. So that'll bring up the second baseman, Rondon Johnson. Rondon will bat from the left side, being a switch hitter. Where's number 6, as you can see. .280 batting average. He has a home run and 24 runs batted in. On deck hitter will be Luis De Los Santos.
Rondon's has hit in 3 straight games now, and he's trying to extend that hitting streak to 4.
Trying to slap it the other way. You know, we talk about this so much, but it's so true. This is probably one of the biggest outfields you'll ever find anywhere.
Well, and look how shallow Kelly plays, and yet I'll guarantee you nothing's going to get over his head unless it's a line shot. But Kelly can cover some ground out there, and he's protecting against the banjo hit that just sort of like dies when it goes over second base.
Well, I guess you'd have to say he's one of those legitimate major leaguers that's down at AAA. Nice play by Espinosa. That one had an inside-out swing off the bat of Rondon Johnson, and can be a tough play at times for a shortstop.
They handled it nice and just stayed with it.
Luis De Los Santos at .322, 3 home runs and 36 runs batted in.
Troy, he's really blossomed as a hitter, I think. He always was a pure hitter, and now this year he's done much more with the bat. And believe it or not, defensively, he's starting to come around a little bit. That's always been the big question. Where do you hide Luis De Los Santos? He come up as a third baseman. Obviously had a lot of trouble playing there. They made a first baseman out of him. And last year he struggled at first, but he's coming along defensively.
Hit to the opposite side. Nice play by Morris to the pitcher covering, which is basic baseball. That play goes 3-1, and the Royals go out in order in their half of the first. So there's no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We've gone one full inning, and there's no score. Tony Manners.
Good look at Tony. You know, what's going to happen, you're going to have incidents all year long if you umpire. You're going to have certain incidents, and he'll forever be remembered here in Omaha as the man who threw out Lambert Bartek, the organist.
Well, there are some things, that's the thing. Time and place make a lot of difference as to whether people remember you in a positive or negative way, or however it is they remember you. Of course, out here, because of that, and it was getting close to College World Series time too, so a lot of eyes were on Omaha.
That's true, and you know, Tony's a good umpire, an excellent umpire, and the whole crux of the situation was that he was trying to diffuse a sticky situation on the field, and it ended up with you know, one less thing that he wanted to worry about was inciting a crowd that night, and so that's what happened. Not defending either side. I'm neutral. Hey.
There you go.
But he was right. He's an umpire.
Okay, leading off for the Clippers. I almost said Yankees. Leading off for the Clippers in the top of the second inning will be Hal Morris, the cleanup hitter. He comes in at .282, 2 home runs, 24 ribbies. He'll be followed by Ross Jones and then Casey Close. Aquino's first pitch of the inning outside, and it's a ball.
Well, I think we might mention for people watching around the country tonight that the temperature at game time was 99 degrees.
Ooh, it cooled off.
We are in the midst of a heat wave. Omaha's been over the 100-degree mark the last 2 days. Just a slight breeze out of the south and a very humid night. Midwest is baking, and I think that's why a lot of people are home in their air-conditioned houses tonight.
Goes the opposite way. Long run for Capra in foul territory, and did he get it? Yes, he did.
Oh, beautiful catch. He stayed with it. He knew where the gate was. He knew where the fence was, and that's a professional ball player.
Well, you know, you do everything you're supposed to do on defense, and he sure as heck did it. What you want to do is get as far to the obstruction as you can and then come back. Well, he didn't have that much time, but he played it perfectly, and he was able to make the play.
You see him looking at his hand there, too. He might have hit it on the top of that railing.
1 out, brings up Ross Jones, the DH. He's batting .214 with 1 home run, and that's his only RBI on the year.
It was a game winner. It was a game winner.
That's the best way to do it.
I guess that's getting the most production out of your one hit.
That pitch is low, as you can see. 2 balls, no strikes now. Aquino getting behind on the count. Swing and a miss on that 2-0 pitch. Down at third base, Castro well behind the bag. Matter of fact, he's even shaded toward the hole.
And Tori, we were alluding to the Columbus Clipper or the Columbus Express from Columbus, Ohio to New York City. Just yesterday, excellent second baseman that was playing here at Columbus, Velarde, was called up to New York because the Yankees' longtime second baseman has been injured on and off all season. And for that reason, Velarde left the ball club and went to New York City. So it happens on, you know, no matter who you are, that's what you're here for, is to supplement that big ball club.
Whoa, on a 3-2 pitch, Ross Jones thought that he had walked.
Hey, sit down, Jones. Where was it? You got a .214 average. Sit down.
That's Turner's. That's Aquino's second strikeout of the ball game, and that'll bring up Casey Close.
And both of them were called strikes.
Oh, they're getting all over Tony Manners.
They sure are. Well, one fan was getting all over the batter, though, for taking a pitch that close.
And speaking of Close, this is Casey Close. Steps up with 2 outs, batting .195. He has 2 home runs and 20 runs batted in. Here comes the 1-0 delivery. Inside, ball 2. So we mentioned the Clippers are a game and a half behind Rochester in the Western Division of the International League. That one off the fist. Aquino calls it. And he sets them down in order again. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. And after 1.5, we're still looking for some runs.
Yeah, both pitchers have done an excellent job so far. I don't know, when it's 100 degrees, you want to play ball, Torrey? I don't know.
Well, you know, I asked that. I was down in the Royals dugout before the ball game, and I was talking to Al Hargesheimer about that, and he said that most pitchers, this kind of weather will tell on you in the late innings, but most pitchers like this weather to get started because you don't take long to get loose. And once you get going, you can get going early and you're in the groove. And he said, but the key to that is, as long as you're getting people out, you don't care.
Yeah, sure, that's right. Or when it's the reverse, 34 degrees in April,
yeah.
If you're getting them out, fine. That looks good on your stats. You'll pitch.
Scotty Madison, Jeff Schultz, Mike Loggins, the 3 hitters due up for the Royals in the bottom of the second, 4, 5, and 6 hitters. The Royals looking for their first hit of the ball game, facing Eric Schmidt. Schmidt, a big right-hander.
There's a good shot of my buddy, Tony Manners.
Yeah, you always wonder too what this heat will do to umpires too. And
well, I want to tell you, that's not funny. I have been in that position many a time, wearing all the gear that you see Mr. Manners right there wearing, and a lot of it is diet too. You know, if you don't, Doc Wagner or the trainer over at Creighton will tell you, you got to have the liquids, the salt, and not just the day of the game. You got to do that beforehand. So you got to prepare for this 100-degree heat, and then just keep drinking those liquids between innings.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I don't think, realize officials in any sport, well, maybe with the exception of tennis, don't get to sit down during the game.
Well, that's right. We stand for 18 innings, or 14 if it's sandlot ball, but you bet.
So Scotty Madison steps in from the left side.
Madison, his first night back from the big leagues, gets hit in the jaw and went on the DL for a while. Really had some bad stitches in his face, and I understand had some corrective plastic surgery to take care of that. Oh, what a play.
Espinoza again. This one was a little bit more difficult than the last one that he snared. So we've got one away off the bat of Scotty Madison. He tried to go the other way on a line drive. You get a good look at Espinoza.
A few of those, and we're going to get another shot at it. Well, at least we're going to look at it. There it is. You see him go up, full extension, nice height. A couple of those, and Santana might go back to the Mets.
Yeah. Jeff Schultz now. He's stepping in also over on the left side at .312 with 2 home runs and 18 runs batted in.
Jeff really came along well this season, too. He hits the ball with authority this year, and pretty well pleased with his progress this season. Still not much on the long ball, but then nobody on this team has done much long ball wise. 2 home runs for Jeff this year with 18 RBIs.
It's really doesn't have the tradition of being a long ball club. Espinoza can't get to that one.
Finally got one by him and almost got by the left fielder, and Schultz is going to go for 2.
And there he is. Espinoza diving toward the bag, not able to get it.
Well, Kelly and Turner Ward are talking to each other out in the outfield, and there might have been a little mix-up because I think Ward thought Kelly was going to come over and take it, and finally Ward had to dive for it to keep it from going by, and that would have been a triple, maybe a shot at it inside the Parker.
Well, that's
it would just look like there was mixed signals between Kelly and Ward, and finally when Ward got to it, Schultz was running hard all the way.
First hit of the ball game, and for Schultz, that's his 7th double on the year. So the Royals have a runner in scoring position with just one down, and this is Mike Loggins. Had a chance to visit with Mike, too, before the game. He says he doesn't like the heat.
Well, Loggins has slowly but surely been raising that batting average of his. Earlier this year, Azell, the manager for Omaha, had him batting in the number 9 spot because he just wasn't able to get on base. But now he's got that average up to 267, and he's moving runners around. And with his speed, he's dangerous in this slot.
Now that's one thing the Royals have always had. They've had good base runners, and they've had quick people. Well, it looks like the pickoff attempt as Espinoza gets over behind Schultz, but no throw is made, obviously.
Well, that number 6 spot they consider almost the second leadoff spot in a lineup. When you're making out a lineup, that's your second leadoff, and now we got somebody that's getting on base as well as has speed. It makes him that much more dangerous.
Misses inside and low. So that'll even up the count at a ball and a strike to Mike Loggins. Now the outfield is straight away. Again, Kelly, though, continuing to play shallow. Slight breeze. Shouldn't have any effect on any ball hit in the air. Foul. Souvenir for somebody.
Looked like Loggins was trying to go the opposite way with that, too. And left fielder, though, has given him plenty of room in left center. He's playing almost towards the line in left. They give him plenty of right. He's not going to pull the ball, I don't believe, unless he gets something slow that he can get around on.
The Royals hoping to take the rubber game of this series with the Clippers. Got behind on that one.
Just blew it by him.
Boy, that was some heat, huh? His first strikeout of the game for Schmidt. 2 outs. That brings up Jose Castro. Castro at 247, but he has decent power numbers, Fred. 3 home runs and 16 runs batted in.
Yeah, Schmidt not much of a power pitcher, only 19 strikeouts in 43 innings coming into this ball game, but he really turned that one loose. Castro's done a good job at third base.
Try to think back to some of the names that have played third base here in Omaha recently. Cliff Pasternicki, Pacoda, of course Pacoda. Call him I-29 Pacoda. Whew.
And of course, Mr. Brett started off here.
Oh yeah, he can play a little bit of ball.
Yeah, he played one season right here, passing through on his way to fame and fortune.
Oh, that's no lie. And it gets past the catcher. The throw to third base not in time, so I'll see what they do. That pitch was in the dirt, Fred. I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to hit Sherlock with a pass ball or not, but he had to block it with his chest.
I'd say wild pitch.
I would think
anytime
so,
the ball's
too.
in the dirt, regardless of the type of job the catcher does, there should be a wild pitch.
So Schultz moves over to third base. And I think the way things have started, and that's exactly what they've done. They've charged Schmidt with a wild pitch. This could be a big run, even though it's early in the game. 2 balls and no strikes now at this point.
Every run the Royals get is a big run. They have to manufacture runs. You know, they're not a power ball club, and Glenn Azell will tell you right off the bat that's you know, they have to get their singles.
Foul back, 2-1.
In fact, his story in the paper this morning said that our singles hitters finally won a ball game for us because they scored 6 runs on 13 hits. I believe all 13 hits last night were singles.
Well, that's the hard way to do it, but it gets the job done. But to survive in this game, especially at this level, you need some long ball help every once in a while.
Yeah, you sure do, and they just haven't had it this year very much. Not that the Royals organization here in Omaha has ever been really a long ball team. They're you know, this ballpark is not built for home runs, although there are times when it can fly out of here and you get the prevailing southerlies.
Or use aluminum bats, as we saw a couple weeks ago.
Oh, sure.
Oh, nice play by Schmidt. And that's going to do it. So the Royals go down to the bottom of the second as Castro grounds out to the pitcher. No runs, a hit. No errors, but there was a wild pitch, and they left a runner on third. So after 2 complete, the score is Columbus 0 and the Omaha Royals 0.
Who has the best selection of videos in town? You do, if you've got a VCR and Cox Cable. When you're a member of Cox Cable...
We go to the top of the third inning, and it'll be Alvaro Espinoza, Berto Pena, and Jamie Nelson, the catcher for the Clippers. The lineup we were given had Sherlock, but it's Jamie Nelson.
Nelson batting 162, no home runs, 6 RBIs if you're looking for your sheet. And there you're getting a good look at the Royals starting pitcher, Mr. Aquino. And Luis, of course, has mowed down 6 in a row. 3 up, 3 down, including 2 strikeouts, has not walked anybody. Faced the minimum.
Well, Espinoza comes in with a batting average of .261, 1 home run, and 16 runs batted in. Facing the right-handed throwing Aquino. Well, the Clippers would like nothing better than to gain some ground on the Red Wings, and we know the Royals, wasn't too long ago, they were leading the Western Division of the American Association, but things kind of got bunched up.
Very bunched up.
And it wasn't all that long ago, Fred. They had a 2-game lead over Iowa.
That's right.
Oh, nice play by Aquino now. The opposite number, we saw Schmidt make a play like that at the end. The bottom of the second. So Espinoza out 1-3, and Berto Pena.
You know, we were talking about wild pitches before. The Omaha Royals pitchers now have gone 64 innings, or make that now 66 1/3 innings without a wild pitch, and that's pretty good.
Especially at this level where some guys trying to impress somebody to get to the bigs, and they might overthrow at times, work with a pitch that they're not quite comfortable with, but they throw it anyway. Foul off the fist into the tarp. The tarp reminds me of this. I want to make mention of this right now. With the drought conditions we've had and the high temperatures without any water, I think Jesse Cuevas and the crew have kept this ballpark looking good. And all those games from the College World Series that beat up the field, I think this is a good-looking ballpark.
Yeah,
Fred.
he had one day to get ready for the return of the Omaha Royals. The College World Series ended Saturday afternoon. The Royals came back on a Monday, so he had Sunday to work on the field. And you're right, it looks great.
Castro, corner to corner, and they got him. 2 down.
8 in a row, retired by Aquino.
That'll bring up Jamie Nelson. And Fred gave you the numbers on Nelson, a 162 average, no home runs, and 6 runs batted in. There you see, that's a good shot. I like that center field shot. And Mr. Hawaii, Jeff Talbot, is 420 feet away on that center field camera. Jeff, Fred, you're going to enjoy this. After this pitch is over for a strike, runs the count now. The ball and a strike with 2 outs. He's been married 3 weeks. He went to Hawaii on his honeymoon.
Oh, well, he's got Hawaiian weather here, that's for sure.
Today's his first day back, too.
It's like he never left, right?
Call strike 2. He was so excited. They went out fishing. He took his new bride, Becky, the former Becky Iwin, who is now Becky Talbot, of course, and went deep sea fishing, and he caught a shark, and he thought he was Mr., you know, Captain Quint. Oh, yeah. Hot shot Talbot. But he's our guy out there at center field. Off the fist again, down toward Castro. This one's a little bit easier to handle. 9 in a row for Mr. Aquino. No runs, no hits, nobody left. Hit after 2.5. It's still no score. And
here's the pitch, and then you'll see the replay. Castro taking his time. He made it look a lot easier than we did.
he shot the lights out.
He made it look a lot easier than we did. Well, that's a pitcher's delight. 9 up and 9 down. And the Royals with 1 base runner, and he died at 3rd base. So try and get something going.
Quite a different start from the last time we were here, huh?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We opened the season on, what would they call it, an auspicious note.
Yeah. Wasn't that old radio show?
There's
There he is.
newlywed.
There's Mr. Hawaii. Wave to us, Jeff. Yeah. There you go. There it is. The good luck sign. Well, we wish Becky a lot of luck with him. I'll tell you, we've got a pretty good mix of veterans and rookies for this game too. Jeff, producer director Carol Edgren is here. Roger Simonson, who drew the lucky assignment for camera up here in the press box with us. But the rest of the crew is pretty new to Royals baseball. Rob Reynolds down at first base camera. Jason Gray down at third base camera. Our floor manager up in the press box, but my sidekick during softball, Craig Christensen. Let's see, we have, I better get them all now that I started them, huh?
Yes.
Tony Viscunis, Karen Porter. We have Vanessa Camp, and we have Scott Malero, and I know I'm missing somebody. No, I already got Rob Reynolds down at first base. Jason Gray at third base. Okay, I think I covered them all. And the Marlboro man's out in right center field.
Did you say that on television?
Yeah, I guess this is cable. You can do anything.
Okay, that's right, yeah.
Oh, Rose is here. Yeah, Rose is here.
My son's here.
The better side of the Girardi family, right? Well, Bill Ardello had the right idea because catchers don't normally bunt, and I think that's one reason why. Yeah, you might have heard that fan in the stand. You bunt like a catcher.
That's right.
Oh, man. This is Dave Owen, the shortstop. He's the 9th batter in the Royals lineup. Comes in at .253, a home run and 16 RBIs.
We might explain that we're going to have a little voice change here at the end of this inning.
Yeah, as we go into the top of the 4th through the 6th, the radio voice of the Omaha Royals, and it's been a long time coming for this city and this ball club, from KESY, Mr. Frank Adkisson. And we're going to kick Fred out of here, and Fred's going to radio for 3 innings.
Which is something I haven't done since Indianapolis was here last year.
You, me, and about 2 other guys. Anytime Indianapolis comes into town, Fred or I, or both, we wait with bated breath
Yes,
for a phone call from Howard Kellman.
Yeah, well, he likes to have somebody do the middle innings for him, and it's fun.
Of course, I kind of consider Indianapolis like a second home. I spent a lot of time in that city, and I don't remember why, but I was there. And they've got, I'll tell you what, though, they have a first-class city, and they're starting to move
That's
into
a major league city.
Oh, sure it is now,
It
yeah,
sure
with
is.
the Pacers and the Colts, of course.
And, of course, they've always had a premier event since
Time Memorial Day
That's
weekend,
right.
huh?
That's right.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count to Owen. That pitch way outside. I'm not sure if that got away from Schmidt or if he really thought Owen might bite on that. On deck hitters, the leadoff batter, Nick Capra. Again, Schmidt earlier. Schmidt was hitting the corners, and like a good umpire, Tony Manners was calling the corners, but Schmidt has been way off now, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here it comes. Owen to the right side. That's going to be in for a base hit. Pena kind of looked like he was running in place to try to get to that ball, so that's the second hit of the game. Both hits belong to the Royals. So the 1-out single through the hole at second base. And Nick Capra, who flied to center field, is up.
It's always nice. It's always nice to get your number 9 hitter on base.
That's Angel Hernandez, right? That was
Angel
a shot at Angel.
Angel's at first, right. And that's Tom Owen over there in the middle of the field umpiring.
Capra now. Boy, they'd like to move him around, maybe even get him in. But they're looking, and Schmidt not going to take any chances this early in the game. And of course, Owen can go. He has, he's taken off. Let's see if I read this right. I don't know if that's 9 attempts. But Schmidt's going to keep him close. Yeah, Owen has stolen 6 bases out of 9 attempts. So you know he'll go. And in this situation, especially at home, 1 out, you'd like to get him over in the scoring position, hopefully without having to sacrifice a batter. foul off the fist.
Well, Capra is very good with the bat. And when I say that, I don't mean so much for average or that. He moves runners well. He can get the bat on the ball, and he does a good job of moving people over. In 238 at bats, he's only struck out 30 some odd times, so that's not too shabby. You know, he can move runners.
But now he's behind on the count at 0-1, which is not really a big hole. There goes the runner. He misses for a ball. The throw is high. It gets by everybody. But Owen will have to hold it second anyway.
Yeah, Roberto Kelly was coming in very quickly, and you don't challenge his arm too much. He plays shallow anyway, as we noticed, and so the ball going into center field was not going to affect that.
7th stolen base of the year for Dave Owen, and that puts the Royal runner in scoring position another time. Capra now sitting at a 1-ball, 1-strike count. We have 1 down, and we're in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and there's no score between the Columbus Clippers and the Omaha Royals. Rondon Johnson, who's really been swinging the bat for the Royals, is the on-deck hitter. Rondon definitely, while he's no stranger to this weather, coming from the Seattle area, he's definitely not used to this kind of weather.
No. Although it's humid up there as well, it rains a lot. It's just the heat is not like it is here.
Yeah, what's the joke they tell about people from Seattle when the sun comes out, they wonder what they did wrong? I think that's, I mean, I'm not trying to offend anybody from the Seattle area, believe me, but somebody told me that once, and they were from the area. I can't remember who.
They've turned the lights on here, but obviously they don't need them yet.
No, but they work.
Oh, yeah, they're working tonight.
2 balls and a strike. Jesse Cueva said, please don't say anything about that, and we did anyway. Ooh, took a little bit off that one and misses high and tight again for a 3-1. Although with first base open, walking Capra, while it might not hurt you at this point because it would set up a force out at any bag, with Rondon Johnson up next, I don't think you want to issue any passes.
No, Johnson's another one who's been a pretty hot hitter for the Royals over the last few weeks.
Schmidt, let's see, he's got to come in straight. Here it is. Capra was waiting for it, and he fouled it off. So that'll fill it up at 3-2. Well, isn't that incredible? Stanford back-to-back.
Yeah.
Mark Marquis, and the way college sports is set up, that's a longer road than people realize.
Yeah, it's real tough to repeat, and you know they sent him to the East Regional too, and that's, you know, when you're playing away from home and have to travel clear across the country to get here, just to get here, and then they really played their hearts out.
3-2 pitch. Slaps it to the right side. It's off to the glove of Pena. And here comes the run to the plate. The Royals lead it 1-0.
I would say base hit all the way. I think base hit all the way, and they sure have put up that 3rd hit. It's a tough play for the second baseman, Berto Pena, as he had to go into that hole between first and second.
Well, Capra now has his 37th RBI on the year. And that'll bring up, as we said, Rondon Johnson, who will bat from the left side. Rondon last time had a soft looper to shortstop that Espinoza was able to grab. Again, they want to keep Capra close. Capra leads the team in stolen bases with 18. He's second on the team in attempts, though. He's 18 out of 22. Jeff Schultz is 17 out of 23. Schmidt will go back to first base. Well, you're at home. This is the kind of situation you like to be in, because you've got, not only have you drawn first blood, but you've got a speed demon at first base. You got a good base stealer at first base.
Left-handed hitter and a left-handed hitter.
Yeah, so they're holding him, and there's a lot of room.
There he goes.
Takes off. I don't think, well, it's going to be closer than I thought. They got him. I didn't think they had a shot at him.
Neither. And I don't think Mr. Capra thought that he was out dugout either, because he is giving Angel Hernandez a little bit of his opinion on his way to the dugout.
Well, I originally didn't think they'd have a shot at him, but from this angle, he looked out, Fred.
And Mr. Rizal has really given Hernandez, 4-2 down there at third. In fact, look at the two of them. Now they're closing in on him. Capra finally left. Rizal gets him out of there.
Glenn still talking to Angel.
Glenn and Angel are no strangers. They were both in Double-A last year and had a few nice rounds with each other. And the night that Lambert Bartak got thrown out, it was because Angel and Glenn Rizal were going at each other too.
Johnson facing a 1-1 count now with 2 outs. So the bases are clear on that. I thought maybe Glenn and Angel were just discussing the weather. I don't know. Rondon takes ball 2. Rondon started, it looked as though he was choked up on the bat. And then as the pitch came through, he extended. Now he's down full. This way, foul. Right off the facing.
And right back on the field.
Wow. That was unusual. That doesn't usually happen here. That got a pretty good carom. Look at Johnson. RJ told me one of the more sobering sides of being a professional ball player. Now 2-2 pitch, outside ball 3. I asked him if at the beginning of the year when we first came, I said, you all set up? He goes, oh yeah, we got our apartment and we rented our furniture.
Uh-huh.
I don't think people realize that. Kelly almost in his tracks. One hands it, and we're out of the 3rd inning. But the Royals break the ice. They come up with a run on 2 hits. There were no errors, and there were nobody left. And after 3 complete, the score is Omaha 1 and Columbus nothing. Welcome to the Cox Cable microphones, the radio voice of the Omaha Royals, Mr. Frank Atkinson. And I don't know, Frank, this weather, is it much like from whence you came in West Virginia?
Well, actually, it's not that far from it. It's more like it is in Bakersfield, California. I've been there too.
Of course, Frank hired by the Royals this year, and KESY Radio here in Omaha, finally a radio station giving the Omaha Royals some regular play. And Frank is play-by-play announcer as we get Roberto Kelly. And Frank, Fred and I were talking earlier. He's probably a good example of a guy who doesn't really belong in AAA, but that's how the numbers game goes.
He's been very impressive so far in this series. He is scheduled to get a base hit. I'll tell you why in just a second.
Aquino's pitch inside.
Every other at-bat, he's gotten a base hit in this series.
Is that how that works?
That is over 10 at-bats now. In the odd-numbered at-bats, he gets a hit.
Castro is up on the infield grass down at third. Takes a big swing at Aquino's pitch. Balls count 1-2. Outfield pretty much straight away. Loggins backs up in center. Of course, as we've said before, Kelly is definitely no stranger to major league experience, and psychologically it works on most people that if you've played in the bigs with the Yankees, you've really been there. But he swings and misses on a bender. Aquino now has 3 strikeouts on the ball game. And we have 1 away. Turner Ward, who was the first strikeout victim, up now.
It breaks the pattern.
You jinxed him. There you go. So how's been your first season with the Royals, Frank?
It's been a lot of fun, and there's still a lot of fun to go. We haven't even gotten to the halfway point yet.
That's right. Swing and a miss. Well, Aquino really has his rhythm tonight. He's throwing excellently. Again, down at third base. Castro up on the grass, right on the edge of the grass. Took a little bit off that one. Aquino likes to throw that changeup. He'll throw you some heat, but he'll pull the string. He also has that slider and a curveball. 4 pitches. I don't know. That's a lot for a pitcher. 4 pitches, if you can master them all.
Not a lot for Louis Tion, but a lot for most.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spent a lot of time watching Tion throw. Whoa, he waited on that one, but he got it too high. Schultz fights the sun, and we have 2 down. That'll bring up Wayne Krenchicki, and Fred and I were talking about Krenchicki. He's well-traveled already, and you mentioned we haven't even reached the halfway point this season.
3 AAA teams that he has played for. Started Tacoma, went to Louisville, ends up here, making his return to Rosenblatt. Played in the College World Series.
That's right.
He may not want us to tell when, but...
And one disadvantage that you have in your job is that you don't get to witness the College Classic because you're on the road with the Royals, and it's a long road trip.
Some of the later games we catch them.
He waited on that one and pulls it high toward the line. Schultz can make the grab, and Aquino has gone through the first 4 innings perfectly. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. And after 3.5, the Royals lead it by a score of 1-0. Why don't you take this time, Frank, and I know people who watch Cox Cable also listen to the Royals games on radio, but why don't you fill our audience in on yourself a little bit?
Well, this is my first season with the Omaha Royals, and first chance to watch the newfound AAA Alliance. There's a lot of positives and a few negatives with the AAA Alliance. The one difficulty is a lot of players don't like the fact that they don't get a chance to really get comfortable with some of the opposition because they're going to play Columbus and all of the International League teams only 5 times. This is the 3rd meeting. When we go on the upcoming road trip, we'll only get a chance to see them 2 times, and you're constantly looking at new faces. The last chance that the fans here are going to get to see on the International League is coming up Tuesday and Wednesday, just tomorrow and Wednesday, when the Toledo Mud Hens are in. That's, you remember, Klinger's team.
That's right.
From MASH.
That franchise, we were talking earlier today, and you say the Mud Hens, and there's only one place you can think of and one sport you can think of, and that's very much a storied franchise. They like their baseball in Toledo, but I don't know, I kind of like the AAA Alliance, and when they start talking about throwing in the PCL next year maybe, and that could make it kind of goofy if they go that far. I don't know.
The PCL has already been added. When we say PCL, we're referring to the Pacific Coast League. They have been added to the All-Star game. The All-Star game this year is an all AAA meeting that will be played at Buffalo this year, and it's going to split the 2 up into National and American, and that should be interesting. July the 13th at Buffalo.
Yeah, that, matter of fact, the manager of Pawtucket is going to be handling the American League side. A lot of people, I get on a lot of people, if you go back to New England, it's pronounced Pawtucket. Anywhere else in the country, they call it Pawtucket, and the people from that city in Rhode Island just kind of cringe when you say it that way, but that's just the way it goes. We're at the bottom of the 4th. Leading off for the Royals, Luis De Los Santos. He'll be followed by Scotty Madison, Jeff Schultz to follow, and De Los Santos, as the DH, has brought new meaning to that name here at Rosenblatt Stadium. Luis can really string the ball, and I don't know, the rap on him, I guess, has been his defense, but he's been able to come along with that in time.
It's significantly improved already, and he's hit in 12 of his last 13.
Fouls this one back.
He's made some sparkling defensive plays just on this homestand. He's very good at chasing the foul pops down the first baseline.
That's unusual, too, because obviously everybody hears about the tough play, and that has to probably be one of the toughest defensive plays a fielder has to make. Brings that one inside out, long run for close, and it's foul in the bullpen area down in the right field.
With De Los Santos, you'll find almost all of his hits are either into the hole at short or up the middle, and consequently they don't expect him to pull. If you can get a shot of the left fielder Ward, he's about as far off the left field line as you can possibly play left field. You might as well just have 2 center fielders.
That's the shift.
There's some real estate out there.
Well, there's a lot of green. But we've seen early, too, Roberto Kelly has the book on the Omaha hitters because he's, to the right-handed hitters, he's played a couple steps toward right. And there's exactly what Frank was talking about. And that was a rope. There was no question on that. So the Royals get a leadoff single in the bottom of the 4th inning from Luis De Los Santos. And Scotty Madison will try to make things happen. The Royals got a run in the bottom of the 3rd inning on a couple of singles and a stolen base. They had a chance earlier in the 2nd, but they left Jeff Schultz at 3rd.
I still find it somewhat of a minor miracle that Madison is playing already after he was hit just adjacent to the eye around the temple on his first game as a member of the Omaha Royals, and took 26 stitches to sew up the gash. And looking at him now, you couldn't tell he'd been cut.
Well, the amazing thing that I find as he takes that strike on the inside part of the plate is that you'd never know, by watching his moves in the box, you'd never know he took one in the face. And I've seen players, even at the big league level, they get back in the box after suffering a hit in the head like that, and they start stepping in the bucket, or they flinch. Takes that one over for a strike. Now he's in the hole at 0-2. De Los Santos down at first base. The on-deck hitter is Jeff Schulz. The Columbus Clippers, AAA affiliate of the New York Yankees. And if you're familiar with baseball uniform styles, you can tell by looking at the Clippers road uniform. Same letter style, exact coloring, and everything else. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Outfielders are pinched. A lot of room down both lines. Here it comes. That'll even it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Madison's only RBI this year is as a right-hand batter. That was a home run that he hit around the 370 mark in left field.
What did you think the first time you saw Rosenblatt?
It looked a lot like I thought it would.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Madison's down. That's the second strikeout of the ball game for Schmidt, and that'll bring up Jeff Schulz, who had a double, and then he moved over to third on a wild pitch back at the second inning.
I'll tell you the one thing I thought about it. I thought it was a home run park, judging by the way it flies out during the College World Series.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Now this is a big ballpark, and of course it's tailor-made for the AAA players that are going to have to go up and play in Kansas City at the big league level, because there's no short porches in Royal Stadium either. What was the stadium out on the West Coast that had that real short low? Was it left field? I don't know if it was in foul back. I don't know. Was it San Jose?
Sacramento.
Sacramento. That's the one. Wow. I'd like to take a shot at that.
A converted track stadium. It's not even in the league anymore.
Yeah.
Sacramento is a market that could conceivably get into Major League Baseball. They have an NBA franchise. They just don't have a real stadium there.
Yeah. They've been trying. They're one of the cities in this country that's really been trying to go big league and everything. And this could be trouble. Long, long run for Ward. He dives and he makes a spectacular grab. De Los Santos hustle back to first. Whoa, what a play by Turner Ward. That was a big league play. And he gets a good hand from the home fans here at Omaha. Woo! Tips his hat to the crowd.
The ball is slicing away from him too, because a left-hand batter hits it. That's what makes it even more difficult. And it wasn't a fly ball. It was a line. Didn't get very high off the ground.
And Lewis had already got to second base, and he had to put on the brakes and scoot back to first. So this is Mike Loggins. Loggins went down swinging back in the second inning, and they've just called a balk. So De Los Santos will go down to second base. The balk started out to be the fad of this baseball season. And I think the next fad is near no-hitters, at least on the major league level. Former Royal David Cohn had one for 7 2/3 innings the other night against the Phillies.
Little deke there by Nelson, pretending that the ball slipped through him. The ex-Royal trying to get back at some of his teammates.
You know, sometimes if you're not awake, that stuff will hurt you. We did a game a couple years ago out here, and the Royals pulled a hidden ball trick twice.
Biancalana has pulled it twice this year already.
Loggins on the 1-0. Line drive over Pena to second base. De Los Santos will be coming to the plate, and the relay is too far up the line to throw to second, not in time. Royals lead it 2-0. So for Mike Loggins, that is his 24th RBI on the season. Give him a single and an RBI. He goes to second on the throw to the plate, which was way off the mark. Good job by Nelson, though, to come up the line to cut it down the distance on the throw to second, but Loggins with good wheels got there in plenty of time. The Royals lead it now 2-0.
That's a bad throw from close. It hung up there too high and was not possible to be cut off either.
Jose Castro hit one back to Schmidt, and that ended the second inning.
What you're watching right now is the Omaha Royal way to play baseball. They got 6 singles in one inning yesterday to score 4 runs, and single, balk, single, and they scratch for their runs.
Well, that's Royal tradition. Fred and I were talking about that, and over the years since we've been able to watch the Royals, of course, with a ballpark this big, you're not going to get a lot of home runs. And they've been able to do it with good base running, stolen base, take advantage on a wild pitch, and they take the extra base when you can. And
it's the smart way to do it, though. There's no reason to play for the home run when it's not a home run park. You're tailoring your game to the dimensions of the park. And there aren't a lot of what you'd call real power hitters. The leader on the team's got 4, and there are 3 different ones with 4.
One of those is on deck right now, Dan Billardello. But and if you notice, the teams that lead their respective leagues usually in the long ball, sometimes when it comes to crunch time, they don't always get the run they need. It's funny how that goes. A long ball will cover a lot of ills, but then sometimes you come up short. Three balls and no strikes to count. He goes on it. Hits it to the hole at shortstop. Espinoza got him. He got him with a lot of room to spare, but the Royals come up with another run. They did it on a couple of hits. There were no errors, and they left a runner on. We've gone through 4, and it's Omaha 2 and Columbus nothing. Clippers in the top of the 5th. Frank?
Thanks, Tori. 2 runs, 5 hits, and no errors for the Royals. Clippers, nothing across. It's been 12 up and 12 down off of Aquino. Incidentally, the Royals are working on their 5th consecutive errorless game. That's been another one of their strong points all season long. Defense, pitching, and when they get the timely hit in, they've put all 3 aspects together, and generally they're tough to beat when they do that.
Well, a ball club like this, of course, as we've talked several times, prides itself on defense and being able to run the bases wisely. And with a guy like Aquino throwing the way he is, I'll tell you, it's going to be tough for the Clippers. I would think this is probably his best game to date.
He's had a couple of strong starts. He's 1-3, though, against the International League, which was the league that he was in last year to start the season. It's funny when you watch him, he looks like someone that's not even concentrating out on the mound. He doesn't have any big wind-up. He just doesn't even really do much of anything except just turn on the mound and fire. It's a very slow delivery to the plate as well. But you'd be surprised he can bring it pretty well on the fastball without using the big windup. See, he just turns, and there it comes. Hal Morris flied to left, his first time up. There's the change, right back where it came from. Makes him run a bit and then guns him out.
You know, the effective thing about that is it just gets the batter, obviously, but it gets the batter off timing. As we saw right there with Morris with a big step, and then he tried to shorten it up a little bit and just pounded it off the handle, and one hopper back to the pitcher.
The Royals do have some pitchers where their changeup is almost their normal pitch, and the fastball is the change of pace. Aquino is not one of them.
That's an interesting way to put that.
Strike call to Ross Jones. Jones is another former Omaha Royal, struck out looking in the second inning. 1-1. You can hear the plate umpire Tony Manners giving the call. Al Hargesheimer is one of those. He's had some arm problems over the years. He just can't throw the flamethrower anymore. In fact, we were in the clubhouse one day and there was some candy out there for the players. One of them was the atomic fireball. I said, "That's one of your pitches, isn't it?" And he said, "Was."
Al, he's a heck of a guy. I got to talk to him. I make it a point to see him every time I come out to Rosenblatt. His wife finally got here as they were waiting for their little boy to get out of kindergarten before they could make the move from Chicago here to Omaha. And Al says it's nice to have his family. He says he got spoiled living in a hotel, even on when they come on home to play games. It's kind of tough after a while.
That's a busted bat. You could hear that. Bouncer to Castro, and there are 2 away. Now 14 in a row retired by Aquino. And the batter is Casey Close. I'll tell you, one time Al got a chance to see his family. Every once in a while we have about a 30, 45-minute layover at O'Hare. They'll come down. You'll see him for about a half hour. I'm on my way.
Yeah. And if you've ever tried to get your car into O'Hare, you know that's no small trick for Mrs. Hargesheimer. Well, Kathy's here in Omaha, and I hope she's watching tonight on Cox Cable. And hello to you, and welcome back to Omaha.
Strike call to Casey Close. Aquino's doing a good job getting ahead on the hitters. It's 2-0 Omaha. We're in the top of the 5th.
Boy, he just seems to be missing inside. Earlier he was able to hit the corners, but game of inches they call it, and we're seeing it right now.
Well, oftentimes the inside pitch is just to get him thinking about something else. Then he busts them in on the fist. Slow roller down to Dave Owen. 3 groundouts. That takes care of things in the top half of the 5th. You were talking about David Cohn. Dare we talk about it much further?
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Every time we get an inning closer, it's a little scary. That was a good play by Owen down there at shortstop because he couldn't really charge that ball just the way it was hit. But if you wait and let it come to you, you don't know if it's going to play you or if it's going to come to you. So that's a tough shot to make in the middle of a hit like that, but Owen doing a good job.
And Buddy Biancalana is a very good defensive infielder, and he's not in the lineup. That shows you the depth that the Royals have. And their opening day outfield of Loggins, Thurman, and Capra had to have been the best defensive outfield that the AAA Alliance had. In fact, the Royals outfield has accumulated already 28 outfield assists. So they've been gunning some people out as well as running down some long fly balls.
Of course, when the season opened and Gary Thurman was in Omaha, everybody predicted incorrectly he wouldn't be down here that long. And of course, yesterday Rick Anderson is called up to Kansas City. So they're going to get Milt Thompson in here to make room for him. So, you know, at this level, though, I guess it's tough at this level because you know you're going to lose players to the big club eventually, but at the same time, you want to remain competitive at your level because even though you're growing players for the next step, you still don't like to lose 100, 110 ball games because that's not what it's all about.
I'll tell you one other thing what it does is it means that the race is never over. Oklahoma City is in last place, and they're still only 7.5 games back, so that tells you that with some player moves, teams can change really drastically in a short span of time, and at this stage of the season, there's a lot of time left. I wanted to take just a moment and remind everyone that tomorrow morning there's going to be a tryout camp. If at some time you thought you wanted to be, like you see there, someone in uniform, there's a tryout camp tomorrow here at Rosenblatt at 8:30. It's for kids in the 17 to 23 age group. Well, you're not a kid if you're 23, but if you have any of those aspirations, we invite you to come on down, bring your own uniform and your glove, and who knows what can happen from a tryout.
Hey, listen, a 23-year-old is a kid to me. I called him Milt Thompson. We know that's not right. It's Rich Thompson. Matter of fact, Milt Thompson was one of the ones, he was the second guy to get a hit off David Cohn last night.
Dan Billardello is now 0 for 2. You just see him grounding out. Dan Billardello is one of those hitters that doesn't like to walk, and so far he's swung on the first pitch twice. One down, and that'll bring up Dave Owen, who we were just talking about earlier. Owen led off the 3rd inning with a single, stole 2nd, and came around to score on Nick Capra's RBI single in the 3rd. The other Royal run came on a De Los Santos single, a balk, and a Mike Loggins single up the middle. So they're doing it with a lot of singles. The Royals don't have a lot of extra base hits. We were talking about the home runs, but just in all extra base hits in general, they're down compared to the rest of the league.
Well, you said the other night they had 6 singles in 1 inning and 13 singles overall.
2-0 now to Dave Owen. The team that can really bomb them is Denver, and they have come out of nowhere to have a share of first place. strike call. It's 2-1. The Royals have all felt pretty much from opening day, even though Iowa was battling it out with them earlier, that Denver was the team they would have to contend with this year.
And it's panned out that way right now. The Zephyrs, as Frank just said, they are a game ahead of the Royals, tied with the Iowa Cubs in the West Division of the association. And it wasn't too long ago, as we mentioned earlier, the Royals were 2 games in front.
3-1 pitch to Dave Owen. To the opposite field, Ward gets another opportunity. This one much simpler than the last, and there are 2 away. The amazing thing about the Zephyrs is that they don't really have their opening day lineup. There's a lot of names like Tom Filer and Mark Knudsen, Mark Chiardi, and their pitching staff that have gone on to Milwaukee, and they're getting some kids from El Paso. They're tearing it up. And Lavelle Freeman, who hit nearly 400 last year at El Paso, this year, last we saw them, was struggling in the 260s. Well, turn around and look at the stat sheet today, and he's number 2 in the league, up in the 320s, and well on his way. Nick Capra takes low, ball 1. Capra singled home a run and tied himself with Luis de los Santos for the RB. Actually, he jumped in front with the single in the 3rd inning. He leads de los Santos by 1 in the RBI Derby. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Capra's stats will let you know about the Royals in the long ball or lack of it, because as Frank just said, he leads the club now with 37 RBIs. He has just 1 home run.
And the last month he's been in the leadoff slot too, a place where you don't normally accumulate a lot of those RBIs. Shattered bat and a fly ball to left field. Ward crosses the line into the bullpen area and makes the catch. That's about as far as you will see a ball carry on a shattered bat. In fact, around home plate it's in pieces. A 1-2-3 inning through 5, 2-0 Royals.
Well, we move into the top of the 6th inning. It's 2-5-0 for the Royals. Goose eggs across for the Clippers. And they will have Espinoza, Pena, and Jamie Nelson up, Frank.
Luis Aquino has not allowed a hit through 5. That's the longest that any starter has retired anything in order from the beginning of a game. Rick Anderson had a game this year where he had reached 19 of 20, but that was not from the first batter. Incidentally, you get a look there at Tony Manners, the plate umpire right there. Manners was the notorious umpire who ejected organist Lambert Bartek here at Rosenblatt Stadium on a recent homestand. He was not working the plate at the time. In fact, the argument that precipitated the whole thing had nothing to do with him. It wasn't even his call. He was over at first base and heard the music and said, "So long, Lambert." Espinoza, slow roller to short. Owen throws on the run. 16 in a row.
Tough play for Owen. That one came off the fist. Aquino again got around and fooled the batter on a pace change, and well, that thing just kind of scooted. And Owen makes the play a shortstop has to make if you want to stay at that position at any level of this game.
6 of the outs have been recorded in the air, 3 by strikeout, and everything else on the ground. And he's had 7 ground ball outs in the last 3 1/3. He'll change in for a strike. 0-1 the count to Berto Pena. He's from the Dominican. Didn't get much bat on that. He's quickly down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. And looks like Aquino has gotten a bit stronger, although he's still getting everyone out. He was pitching from behind in the early innings on a couple batters. Strike 2 pitch. Got him.
Boy, he got him fishing.
Number 4 for Aquino. Jamie Nelson is the batter, and Aquino seems to have a patent on the 3-minute innings.
It'd be interesting on the see how many pitches he's averaging per inning.
4 this inning. There's number 5 and strike 1 there. Got a piece of it.
Well, if I'm Glenn Ezell, I have to be feeling pretty good right now.
during a game, I don't know if Glenn ever feels good. The one game we had in Denver, the Royals won it 20-4. He felt pretty good there in the 9th inning.
Yeah, what a way. Denver also brings to mind thoughts of being snowed out. You want to talk about extremes. We're talking about a snow out, and here it is over 100 degrees tonight.
Down the right field line, foul into that new section here at Rosenblatt Stadium, and it's 0-2.
You know, I don't think we can talk enough about the improvements they've made here. The ballpark, the parking lot, the surrounding area. A lot of good comments during the College World Series because people had heard about it, but of course they hadn't seen it. And once they'd gotten a look at it, they were really impressed, and that's good for Omaha.
Strike 3 call. Aquino gets his 5th strikeout. He gets 2 in the inning, and now it's starting to get interesting. 18 up and 18 down. We have had one no-hitter thrown in the AAA Alliance this year. Scott Nielsen, who pitched just the other night here at Rosenblatt for Columbus, threw one this year. And also Steve Ellsworth had an 8 2/3 one this year. But through 6, it's at least something to become noteworthy. And the Royals still have the 2-0 advantage. You know, more often than not, it seems like that when a no-hitter is pitched, it's in a close game.
Yeah.
On rare occasions, you'll see, the 8-0s and the 9-0s. When Koufax pitched his in '65, it was 1-0, and Bob Henley, who was the losing pitcher in the game for the Cubs, threw a one-hitter and lost. A lot of times it happens like that.
Well, I remember the twin no-hitters by Earl Wilson and Bill Malbuquette for the Boston Red Sox back in 1962. Earl Wilson accounted for the only Red Sox run against the Angels. He hit a home run in the left field net, and the Red Sox won at 1-0. They got 3 hits that night.
The one that was thrown by Nielsen about 13 days ago was the first 9-inning no-hitter thrown by a Columbus pitcher since 1945. So they are rarities.
Yeah. I don't know. I would think it would be tougher to throw a no-hitter at this level. Maybe I'm wrong, because the big leagues being what it is. But I would think that with some of the free swingers you have down here and guys like Bill Ardello who go on the first pitch, I would think that could kill a pitcher in a no-hit bid.
I think it's difficult at any level. Rondon Johnson will start off the bottom half of the 6th. RJ is 0 for 2. 2-0 Royals.
Well, I never threw one, I can tell you that.
Well, to be very honest with you, in person, I have yet to see one.
Yeah.
Johnson, a flare to left. Ward with another chance. Can't make that one. A sliding attempt. He will hold Johnson to a single, though. That slips by him, though. That could be at least 2 bases. So he still made a good play.
Rondon continuing to hit. That's his 71st hit of the season.
He's not too far from the top 10 hitters in the league. You don't have to hit 300 this year to make the top 10 in either the American Association or the AAA Alliance. There are some 294s in there. Here's De Los Santos, 1 for 2. De Los Santos has probably hit more balls off of pitchers' legs, arms, back this year. It's almost always something up the middle, including a few bit through the pitcher's legs.
Well, that's a statistic that stats freaks would love.
They've got the shift on him again.
You know, and he's got a slightly open stance. You'd think he might be able to pull it that way, but he doesn't. When he steps, he doesn't really close his stance, but he steps straight toward the pitcher, so he doesn't open up anymore. So
6 hits now for Omaha. Eric Schmidt has not pitched badly. He's trailing 2-0, and he's after Rondon Johnson again.
Well, you'd think the one play that might have hurt him early, the wild pitch, didn't, because they left the runner at third.
checked his swing, but it's a strike anyway. 0-2. De Los Santos is another one of the batters who obeys the 11th commandment, thou shalt not pass. He won't take a walk very often. Foul away.
Now the Royals are looking at 2 more games at home, tomorrow and Wednesday against Toledo, and then they hit the road for 10 games. They go to Rochester, Syracuse, play these same Clippers in Columbus, go to Toledo for 3, and then they're back home for another homestand July 3rd, so at least they'll be home over the 4th of July holiday, and they'll be playing Buffalo.
First baseman Morris handling the throw there. He's standing literally in foul territory on those throws over. You don't normally see it that pronounced. It's technically almost illegal.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be in fair territory, and you can see clearly most of them is in foul territory.
That's the Keith Hernandez controversy.
The only one who's supposed to be allowed to be in foul territory is the catcher. And then there are no restrictions other than the pitcher on anyone else. You can have all 7 of the other guys in the infield if you want. Or
unlike football, where you have to have so many people at a certain place.
Another throw over.
Which I think has opened up in baseball history for the famous shifts and different things that we've seen as time has gone on.
Johnson has stolen 9 of 16. Ground ball down to short. Could be 2. There's 1. There's 2. Sounded like De Los Santos shattered his bat as well.
No, that'll be the 3rd broken bat tonight, so Hilrick Bradley's going to make some more money.
Base is empty with 2 outs, and here's Scotty Madison. Madison has lined to short and has struck out.
Well, I'll tell you, last year I saw Scotty hit a mammoth grand slam right here. He put it over where the AAA sign is in left center. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was a shot.
Foul at the plate, strike 1. If I'm not mistaken, from what I looked up, that was against Jeff Montgomery.
It was on one of those concerts after baseball nights.
0-2 now to Madison. Bases empty, 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Royals lead 2-0. Luis Aquino has retired all 18 Clippers that he has faced. Hope you can be here tomorrow. Toledo in Tuesday and Wednesday. That'll be it for the International League at Rosenblatt Stadium.
And as I just mentioned, you have to have your bags packed here in a couple of days, friend. You're going on the road.
A day trip.
Yeah.
That's a breeze. We just came off the 15-day trip. 1-2 to Madison. Wouldn't bite. Pretty good location for a 1-2 pitch. Nelson giving Manners a long look at it. 2-2. Big hole in left center for Madison. Wouldn't go after that one either. A rare full count. Royals just a game out of first. Could get themselves back into a tie tonight. The payoff. Toward that gap in left center field. A long run for Kelly. He isn't going to get there. On his way to the wall. Madison is going to be content with 2. Hitting them where they ain't.
Well, that's Scotty's second 2-bagger on the season. That's his first hit tonight. And that double play looms pretty large at this point as Bucky Dent is making his way to the mound. You erase that double play, Frank, and it's 3-0 at this point.
He's made a quick move already. He wants the left-hander to pitch to the left-handed batter, Jeff Schultz. So that's going to be all for Eric Schmidt, who pitched fairly well. 5 2/3. Allows 7 hits, 2 runs, one is his responsibility. Hippolito Pena, who's coming in. Pena had spent some time with New York.
Well, he comes in with a 3.59 ERA. He's pitched 42 2/3 innings. This will be his 24th appearance, all in relief. He's 6-1, and he has 1 save. Given up 33 hits, struck out 49, while walked 21.
Incidentally, Schultz has only 2 home runs this year. One of them came against a left-hander, and for the most part, he hits left-handers fairly well, so this should be interesting. Hippolito Pena takes over out of Santo Domingo. Schmidt, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 runs. Madison's his responsibility. He did not walk a batter, and he struck out 2. It's interesting on just how more enjoyable from a fan's point of view a game is to watch when you're in the 6th inning and neither pitcher has had a walk.
Exactly.
I was talking to a friend of mine who broadcasts the games in El Paso, and he was telling me about what a drain it is on him. Every night his pitchers go out, and it's ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, strike 1, strike 2, then a couple of foul balls, and then they end up walking.
Sounds like you're talking about Class B fast pitch softball. Oh, wow.
Madison at second with 2 outs. Schultz trying to pick up some insurance. Royals up 2-0. Checks his swing on a pitch that's up. Ball 1. Somewhat surprising to see Bucky Dent with such a quick hook for Schmidt. But the way Aquino is going, he feels he can't afford to fall behind by 3 or more. Got that one by him. 1-1.
Well, what the Royals need tonight is for Toledo to beat Iowa, and then for Syracuse to take out Denver.
The last we had, that Denver-Syracuse game, was scoreless in the 5th. Here we're 2-0 Omaha in the 6th at Rosenblatt. He's low, 2-1. Schultz is not a batter who's going to chase a lot of bad pitches either. The Royals, as a team, do not hit the left-handers very well, though, and yet all 3 of their wins on this homestand have been when a left-hander started. As a team, they're hitting only .248 against the lefties. Schultz a fly to right. Easy play for Close. So the strategy works out for Bucky Dent, and the Royals, with a couple of hits, have a rally washed out with a double play. 1 left after 6. Fred will be coming back in a moment. The Royals 2, and the Clippers nothing.
Frank, I want to take time to thank you for spending some time with us on Cox Cable. It's been enjoyable. Maybe we'll do it again.
My pleasure. Let's do it soon.
Okay. Kelly Turner Ward and Wayne Krenchicki, and I'd like to welcome Fred back to the TV side after doing 3 innings on radio. And how was Glenn Close?
Glenn Close. She was wonderful.
Of course, I put Fred on the spot because I ran down there during one of our breaks while Fred was on radio. And he said, I just called Casey Close Glenn Close. Oh, yeah. Well, what's
the big story, though, is
right,
what's going
Mr.
on right
Aquino,
out there
you
on
betcha.
the mound.
Well, if anybody can make a difference, I guess it's this guy.
Yeah, I like this ball player, although it cost him playing in close a little bit
Yes,
on
it
that
did.
ball that went to the screen that he couldn't get.
I don't know of too many people that would have gotten to that, though, had they been playing that shallow. Maybe a
that's true.
Henderson, but
Yeah.
still, that's a long run, and that ball was rocketed.
And he was shading him a little bit towards the right field side, too.
Quino starts him out with a strike. Hits the corner, strike 2. Well, I'll tell you, that'll make you swing the bat. Pitcher throws strikes. That's all you can ask him to do.
Let me tell you something else, though. What happens, you're talking about an umpire's mentality. As the game gets longer and goes on, and the pitcher's been hitting that strike zone, if it's borderline, because of the type of game he's been pitching, he's going to get the call.
Kelly protected the play. So that's where you wonder what would happen if the game was officiated by robots.
Yep. Well, you take that subjectivity out of there. The thing that I noticed about Aquino last inning in the number 8 and 9 hitters, he had him 0-2. He didn't waste a pitch. We're right after him 0-2 and got him. And here he is again 0-2. He's not going to take the chance with Kelly, though, is he?
Well, Kelly fouled the last one off. You know, Frank Atkinson made this great observation. Of course, he sees the Royals on a daily basis about Aquino's delivery. He says, it looks like he doesn't even throwing hard. He just kind of, you know, I'm out here at the ballpark. I think I'll rock and kick my leg and throw it to the plate.
Good arm speed, though.
Kelly with a wicked foul. Frank, Fred, I don't care. You know, we look at the shot from center field. This is a pretty ballpark.
Gorgeous ballpark. You know, there's a couple of minor league parks, AAA level, that may be nicer. The brand new one in Richmond, the one they call the Diamond.
Yeah.
The one in Buffalo that they're preparing for the major leagues with. But you know, for a ballpark that was designed for AAA baseball, I don't think there is a better setting than this either.
Yeah.
A beautiful view of the, you know, overlooking the interstate, the zoo, and wonderful downtown Council Bluffs.
Yeah, the lights of Council Bluffs. He got him.
Struck him out.
Well, that's strikeout number 6.
And his 3rd K in a row.
And that'll bring up Turner Ward, who was a strikeout victim in the first inning, flied to right in the 4th.
And now's the time in the dugout. If he gets through this,
Look at Bucky.
Yeah. You don't talk to Aquino. You don't. You know, if you're sitting to his left, you stay sitting to his left. All the little baseball superstitions come out now.
So Turner Ward.
Ward made a beautiful play defensively earlier in this ball game, going away from where he was towards the line.
One ball, one strike, up on the edge of the infield grass down at third base, Castro. Everybody else back at normal depth. Fastball fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Have you ever been behind the plate and called a gem?
Yeah, I've had a couple, mostly Sandlot though, nothing, you know, not college level or above, but I have had a couple of good Sandlot games.
You know, we talk about the College World Series here in Omaha, the Division I College World Series. It wasn't that long ago, Fred, you were an umpire for the Division II College World Series.
Yeah, down in Montgomery, Alabama 3 years ago, and from what I understand, probably be there next summer, or next spring, I guess, June, whenever it is.
Count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Foul back. Well, we've seen a lot of broken bats tonight, haven't we?
Yes, we sure have.
I think that says something about the pitching.
Well, they're fooling the batters, and that means they're hitting them on the handle. And when you hit a fastball or something on the handle, you're not going to do much except break your bat.
I never experienced that, hitting a fastball.
Yeah, that's why I'm up in the booth. I don't know about you. That's why I'm up here.
Oh, but those Sandlot days were fun, weren't they?
They were indeed.
Oh, did he fool him? I think he's got everybody thinking now. Oh, strikeout number 7, 4 in a row. And this brings up Wayne Krenchicki, who popped to the pitcher and flied to right.
20 up and 20 down.
Woo. Aquino. Ooh, I don't know if that's such a good idea.
There's a lot of people who did not come out tonight that are missing a beautiful baseball game. Beautifully pitched and beautifully played.
Well, we've seen some stellar defensive plays from the Clippers out at shortstop.
And in left field.
Oh, yeah. Turner Ward making a heck of a grab. There's Capra, too, going over toward the line. So it's been a good ball game all the way around. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Wayne Krenchicki. Ooh, changeup misses outside.
And you talk about, you know, if you're not going to score a lot of runs, defense has got to win some ball games for you. Royals coming in tonight with 4 straight errorless games, and tonight have played errorless ball, obviously, through 6 2/3.
Misses inside, steps him back. 3 balls and a strike.
Now, he's only been 3-1 on one other batter and came back to get him. And we'll see now what he's going to do with Krenchicki.
Yeah, outside part of the plate. And
I was just going to say, Krenchicki is trying to help out Tony Manners a little bit by strolling towards first, but Tony wasn't having any part of it.
And I was just going to make mention that that's exactly what you were saying, Fred. He's going to have to make believer out of the umpire, the batter is. Well, he struck out the side. He has 5 strikeouts in a row, 8 on the game. And again, we go to goose eggs. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. After 6.5, it's 2-0 Omaha. 2-0, and Fred, the Clippers have another pitcher on the mound.
Yeah, they're bringing a right-hander in now. Steve Shields is coming in. He does not have a record. He's 0-0, but he has a very nice ERA of 1.84. This will be his 11th game that he's appeared in. It's all in relief. He's got 3 saves already. Only 14 2/3 innings, and Steve has been pitching, of course, in the hot box up in that wonderful megalopolis known as New York City, and was just sent down recently. Has given up 15 hits, 3 runs, all 3 were earned. Struck out 15 and has only walked 3, so he has a good strikeout to walk ratio.
Well, the totals on Ippolito Pena are simple. 1/3 of an inning, nothing across the board. No hits, no walks, no strikeouts. Didn't give up any runs, although he did come on in relief of starter Eric Schmidt. So, this will bring up Mike Loggins. He'll be followed by Jose Castro and Dan Billardello here in the Royals' home half of the 7th inning stretch. Takes that pitch for a strike. A lot of room up the line at right and in the gap at right center. There is a slight breeze blowing from right to left, but again, that shouldn't be any problem for the defense.
And again, look how shallow for a center fielder Roberto Kelly plays. I mean, there's a lot of room behind Kelly. If the ball would get over his head, you could almost try for an inside the park home run.
Pulls it up the line, backhand off of Morris, not in time. Tough play going to the line. Across his body, we'll have to see how they score it. Time and place and conditions. And they give him a hit. So
time and place meaning Omaha, Nebraska, Omaha batter, Omaha scorekeeper.
That's Loggins' 2nd hit of the ball game. That'll bring up Jose Castro, who's hit the ball to the infield twice. Once to the pitcher, once to the shortstop. So we'll look for Michael to be going down at first base, and Shields thinking the same thing. Loggins on the year has 12 stolen bases and 13 attempts.
Shields is not a little guy, 6'5", 230 pounds on the mound for Columbus.
Does he moonlight as a tight end in the NFL?
He could.
Again, they go to Loggins. It's close.
He has a very quick move to first. Loggins didn't even slide, and that's the reason it was probably so close.
Still yet to throw to the plate. And again, you know, I say this every time, but it's so true. And anybody who's been in this situation at any level can understand this. You're at bat, you're trying to concentrate, and he keeps throwing to the base. And you've got to keep your concentration all that time. There goes Loggins. Pitch is high, and he's going to be safe. So Mike Loggins steals his 13th base of the season.
Roberto Pena did not like that call at all. He was kicking dirt, and now there's Bucky Dent out talking to the Bucky's out there discussing things with Hernandez. Hernandez, the rookie umpire, and any close play he makes, he's going to be challenged and questioned, regardless of whether it's home or on the road or what. But they're going to challenge Angel for a while.
Yeah, as you look at Bucky walking back to the dugout, he's looking pretty good to be out of active playing for a couple of years.
I'd like to see how Bucky would do in an old-timers game. Of course, he's managing in the minor leagues. He never gets a chance to go to these old-timers games.
So Jose Castro back in the box with a 1-0 count as Mike Loggins is out at second base with his 13th stolen base. Glenn Ezell yelling orders to Loggins as we get a look at Shields. Now we've already had one balk in this game. Tight. 2-0. As I said, Fred, while you were on radio, the balk became the fad of the year.
It did indeed.
Then it was replaced by the near no-hitter. 2-0 delivery. Did he check it? No, strike anyway.
Well, I think he went around anyway. Yeah, the balk rule in the professional ranks is a little bit different than what we're calling an amateur ball. If we were calling again, a little shave and a haircut.
Chin music.
If we were going to be calling the balk rule an amateur ball the way they are in the pros, you'd have 4-hour ball games because those kids balk a lot.
Pounds a 3-1 pitch into the dirt. That'll move Loggins over to third. And we have one out as Castro grounds out the shortstop. So that's his third ground out tonight. Brings up Dan Villardello. He's popped to the pitcher and grounded to third. Well, we're seeing a baseball game tonight, I'll tell you. I'll tell you right now, if you're watching this on Cox Cable on Monday night, we're live. It might be the bottom of the 7th inning, but it might behoove you to hop on the interstate for the last couple of innings.
Say you could be a part of this. That's right.
It's a good ball game. We'll see what Loggins does. Krenchicki is even with the bag at third base. The infield is in because there is only one out and a runner at third. Now Shields says, wait, I want to talk to the catcher, so Nelson will go out.
Well, you know, they want to get this run down at the plate. 2-0 is not a big lead. And anything can happen in a baseball game, but you make it 3-0. And now, if you're on offense, you have to play the game a little differently than if you're down 2 runs.
Especially the way Aquino's been pitching.
That's right. So Bucky Dent's brought his infield in.
Bucky Dent started his career with the Chicago White Sox. Matter of fact, wasn't he on the same White Sox team with Rich Gossage and Carlos May, maybe?
Possibly, you're right. Yep.
Melton?
Yep.
Dick Allen? No, yeah, he became Dick Allen after he went to the White Sox.
Don't call me Richie.
Yeah, but it was Richie in Philadelphia.
That's right.
Well, you want to talk about a character. And he could hit. How could he hit?
Like a machine.
2 balls and no strikes. Villardello trying to get that third run in. Mike Loggins down at third after he had an infield single down to first base, stole second, moved to third on the ground out by Castro. Too high. Don't know if it's going to get him in. Who wants it? Ward, Kelly, it'll be Ward, and Loggins is going to hold.
And wisely so. Not near deep enough. Kelly coming away over and was right next to Ward. Almost thought about taking it himself because he had a better angle for the throw to the plate, but since it was so shallow, neither one wasn't going to matter which one took the throw or the catch.
So shortstop Dave Owen, the number 9 hitter in the order, will come up with 2 down. Dave has a single and a stolen base. He scored the Royals' first run in the 3rd inning. Then he flied to left in the 5th. So the Royals got a runner to third base in the 2nd in the person of Jeff Schultz. Couldn't get him in. I don't think they want to leave this guy now. Shields' pitch. Yeah, no question, right over. 0-1.
Be interesting to get a shot, if we could, into the Royals dugout to see where, if they are isolated Aquino, whether they're leaving him alone, who's near him, anybody by him at all.
It's funny how that stuff happens. Players will be on a team that's on an extended losing streak, and then they just happen to put a hole in their stirrup sock and they wear it anyway, and they break the losing streak, so they wear it every time afterwards.
Sure.
1 ball, 2 strikes, the count now.
I don't know of any group of players who are more superstitious than baseball players, but then, you know, they play every day of the week. You know, it's a long season for them, and you hear more about that type of thing with streaks. You know, once a week with football or twice a week with pro basketball. You don't hear about those types of superstitions, but baseball has always been steeped in them.
Got it in the air, but too high and not long enough, and this inning is over. So Owen flies to right. No runs, a hit, no errors, and they left 1 big runner on third. We've gone through 7, and the Royals still lead Columbus 2-0. We're going to keep it right here as you see the Royals taking the field at the bottom of the 7th inning. Want to remind everybody, if you're watching this Monday night, of course this is live, June 20th, the Toledo Mud Hens are in town for a 2-game series. Tomorrow, Tuesday the 21st, Wednesday the 22nd. And then the Royals are going to go on a 10-game road trip to Rochester, Syracuse, Columbus, and Toledo. And there you see, if you look at the top, that's what we mean when we say nothing but goose eggs.
The Royals have been playing more International League games in the last month or so than they have against their own in the American Association, but it's really nice to see some of these other teams come into Omaha, teams that you've only heard of. I mean, now what greater name is there in minor league baseball than the Toledo Mud Hens? You know, I mean, they've been around forever. It's a great name, and they'll be here.
Well, they lived on through the television series MASH with Max Klinger.
That's right, absolutely.
Omaha is going to see Buffalo and Indianapolis the first full week in July for the first time this year.
I know it, and they are both American Association teams. That's what I meant about playing most of your games in the International League.
The Bisons this year affiliated with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and of course Indianapolis still with Montreal. July 13th is the All-Star game in Buffalo. 12th and 13th.
Hal Morris, Ross Jones, Casey Close get their shot. Good shot of skipper, Mr. Rizal, watching.
You know, when you talk to Glenn, he's real low-key. But during the game, you might not see him fidgeting a lot, but he's one of those guys that has the poker face, but his insides are just on fire.
Oh, very intense during a ball game. Loves to go out and talk to the men in blue, or the ladies in blue.
Yeah, that's right.
He's been out talking to Pam a few times this year.
Postman. Now, Aquino started Morris off with a ball. Now he evens up the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. We're in the top of the 8th inning. The Royals lead the Clippers 2-0. Big swing and a miss on a fastball.
That
1
may have
ball,
been,
2 strikes.
Terry, that may have been the hardest ball he's thrown all night. And here it is, the 8th inning. The heat certainly hasn't gotten to him. And of course, he's used to the heat.
Well, I'll tell you what, the way although the Royals, they lost their series to California, the Kansas City Royals.
That one was a little bit too far out for Mr. Manners to give him. I just saw Aquino shake his head a little bit. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I was just talking about how the Royals have had to battle injuries, and you can bet this performance will not go unnoticed by Aquino, by someone at the Kansas City level, that's for sure. Tom Poquette, we failed to mention him early. He coaches first base for the Royals here in Omaha. I had a good talk with Tommy on opening night. Heck of a guy.
Yeah, it's nice that he's back in organized ball. He'd been out of it for quite a while, and it's nice that he's back in it.
Got him. Got him. 6 in a row. Number 9 on the night.
What a performance. You know, this is just unbelievable.
And that's number 48 on the season for Aquino. That'll bring up Ross Jones, former Royal. Jones called out on strikes in the second, grounded to shortstop on the, in the fifth.
Kansas City, Ross.
Well, Aquino, I think if you're at bat right now, Fred, you have to know that Aquino's not going to waste any time. He's just going to throw strikes.
Yeah, he's been throwing strikes all night. Tony Manners has been calling him all night. And if you're the batter, you better be protecting the plate.
1 out, 0-1 pitch. Outside, high, 1-1. But
I was just going to say, it's just amazing this performance we're seeing out of Luis Aquino. You know, he struggled for so many years. Last year he struggled, the year before he really struggled. The potential was always there, and it's nice to see him have a good season, which he is having for the Royals this year. This is out.
3-1 now. Had a little bit of zip in that pitch. Well, Aquino on the year is 3-3, and all 3 of his losses have come to International League teams. He's 1-3 against the International League, 2-0 against the Association. 3-1 pitch. Foul back.
Well, that is only the 3rd batter tonight that he's been even 3-1 on. And now, of course, he went to 3-2 on all of those.
And that poor fan reeks the wrath of the other fans as he missed on the rebound.
I guarantee you better be swinging the bat right here. And he was. Oh!
What a play down at first base. Scotty Madison, while it wasn't exactly a real tough play, a line drive straight at you. All the baseball people will tell you that's a tough one to make. And that breaks the string of strikeouts, but it keeps everything in order. And that'll bring up Casey Close. That's
23. Number 23, yes.
Close has popped back to Aquino and grounded to shortstop. That's probably the hardest hit ball we've seen all night off Aquino. But line drives always, you know, will raise a little bit of.
And you got to have a few of those if you're going to pitch the kind of game that he's trying to pitch here tonight.
That one's ripped foul down the third base line, but it runs the count now to 0-2.
Is there anything better, Torrey, than a night at the ballpark? I love it.
I don't know. It's hard to beat. Way outside, ball 1, strike 2. 2 outs. Top of the 8th inning at Rosenblatt Stadium. Royals baseball live on Cox Cable, Monday, June 20th. The Royals lead the Clippers from Columbus 2-0. Aquino's 1-2 delivery. Outside again. Evens it up at 2-2. Well, one thing's for sure, if one of these hits off a Clippers bat is a little looper or one hit to the gap, you can bet the Royal defenders are going to be going all out.
Just missed downstairs with that one. I
Fills
don't
it up.
remember too well. You know, there's been this maybe 4 or 5 3-2 counts. And that maybe shows a little bit of tiring here on Aquino's part.
And he walks his first batter. Well, his string stops at 23 in a row. And the first runner is aboard for the Clippers here in the 8th inning. And that'll bring up Alvaro Espinoza.
I'm not sure what he was 1-2 with Close and lost him, or 2-2 and lost him. 1-2. So the times he was behind 3-1, he came back to get him. And the time he was ahead, he pitched a little bit too fine.
Tip foul.
It's been a very effective pitch for him tonight, is just to take a little something off of that breaking pitch and off the fastball.
Whoa, well, got him going. good.
Slow, slower, slower. They don't need a radar gun on him. They need a calendar.
Almost got that one, 11.
Oh, I saw you digging in your wallet for that one. I saw you pull that piece of paper out.
Sit down.
Saving it for this occasion, right?
Ooh, time called.
Anything to disrupt the pitcher's
Oh,
rhythm,
sure.
and that's a smart move on Espinosa's part.
And it's interesting that the home plate umpire would give him the time.
Well, you save yourself a lot of trouble that way. If you don't, Bucky would have been right out there.
Oh, yeah. They're going to throw to first base just in case. So what's going to happen on that is we'll give Aquino his 10th strikeout of the ball game. We'll give Bill Ardello an assist and Madison a putout. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one runner left on base. We've played 7.5, and it's still Omaha 2-0 over Columbus. And the Royals coming up now.
You say the fans very, very appreciative of what they're seeing out on the mound, and they gave him a wonderful ovation as he came off the field.
Well, I wouldn't think we're going to see anybody leave in this ball game.
No. If they are, they must be transplanted Los Angelinos.
Los Angelinos. Eh? Oh, wow. You know, I was talking earlier tonight, and to one of the ball players, it was Mike Loggins, and who was it, Phil or Joe Negro, was pitching and you up behind the plate. We're not saying that, you know, you're ancient,
Phil.
but I mean, it was Phil.
Phil and I broke into professional baseball the same year. Phil was at McCook, Nebraska. The year was 1959. He had his knuckleball even then. He had a catcher by the name of Elrod Hendricks who used to swear in Spanish because he couldn't catch the knuckleball. And that was an outstanding Braves farm club at that time. Ronnie Hunt, who had a great career with the Mets later, was the second baseman on that team. A fellow who writes an awful lot of wonderful articles for Sports Illustrated by the name of Pat Jordan was also on the pitching staff of that McCook ball club. So they were loaded for bear that year.
Terry Leahy, there they are, the lights of Council Bluffs. Well, I'll tell you, the 2 years that Terry and I did Royals baseball, that was Terry's claim to fame. It became an inside joke on the production crew. So every time we came out here, we had to show the lights of Council Bluffs. Elrod Hendricks, huh?
Oh, there's a name.
Phil Necro.
He's still around, Elrod. He's
Sure.
coaching someplace now.
For a while, he was considered the premier catcher in the American League
Oh,
when
you
he was
bet.
with Baltimore.
You bet. Played a little with the Yankees, too.
Now, this is Nick Capra, the leadoff hitter for the Royals. Rhonda Johnson's on deck. They'll be followed by Luis De Los Santos. On the night, Capra has a hit in 3 trips. He knocked in a run in the 3rd inning with a single. Beats it into the ground. It's going to be a quick play for Krenchicki, and he makes it. There's one away.
Adam played just right, did not wait for the short hop, came up and took it while it still was coming down on the big hop, and that made it a lot easier for him.
Rhonda Johnson, he's been batting from the left side all night because he didn't have to face Ippolito Pena.
I'll tell you what, if I'm a left-hander, there's no way I want to face Pena. He comes by way of first base with that ball and really brings it pretty good.
Makes you earn your money.
He does indeed.
Rondon, as we already mentioned, from the Seattle area. Real steady ball player. He's the kind of guy you want on your ball club because he'll always be there for you. Of course, he's had some pretty heavy injuries the last couple of years, but he can play this game. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Base hit.
That's his second hit of the night. 2 in a row for Rondon.
Well, you'd like to, I suppose you'd like to have a 2-hit game every time you step up.
Well, you know, when you hit 280 and you go 2 for 4, you can raise your average.
Just a little bit.
You'll be flirting with that 300 mark before long.
Luis De Los Santos. He is 1 for 3. His last time up, he hit into a 6-4-3 double play. Before that, he singled and scored the last Royal run. And in the first inning, he grounded out first the pitcher. Shields trying to keep Johnson close. On the year, Rondon has stolen 9 bases. The on-deck hitter is Scotty Madison. De Los Santos, after that first one, that big hitch and a big swing, and it's 0-1.
You want to look ahead to the 9th. Columbus will send up the 8, 9, and 1 hitters unless Bucky Dent decides to pinch hit down there in the 8 or 9 spot to face Luis Aquino as the anticipation grows.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can say they're not thinking of it, except for maybe Shields. He doesn't care. 0-1 the count to Luis De Los Santos, and he goes back to first base. 2-9-0 for the Royals. Zip, zip, zip for the Clippers. And again, we go to first base. So Shields is going to keep it close.
Well, again, he's doing what he has to do. It's still only 2-0. You know, they're not going to give up that 3rd run if they have to, and they're going to keep the double play in order.
Well, as we already mentioned, Johnson scored stolen 9 bases already this year. Big swing and a miss. No balls, 2 strikes. Tony will leave a swing from the right side, except that De Los Santos holds onto his bat. We're going to leave put one into the 4th row at Fenway Park down the first base side. He was always a treat and a threat to watch, because he never used pine tar, and they didn't use batting gloves back then.
No.
For you youngsters who think batting gloves have been in forever. And those donut weights haven't been around forever either.
No, we used to grab 3 bats at once.
3 bats or the lead pipe.
That's right, 2 or 3 to swing them. They look like, you know, big, heavy lumber.
You know who got credit, I think, unofficially got credit for the did he go around? They checked,
Sure did.
And he did. So I'll ring up De Los Santos. That's the first strikeout for Shields. 2 outs, and it brings up cleanup hitter Scotty Madison, who has a double in 2 trips. He lined a shortstop in the 2nd, went down swinging in the 4th. But you know who got unofficial credit for developing the donut? Wait.
Ellie Howard, I
That's
think.
right. I was going to say, you should remember that. And we're talking the Yankees there.
That's right.
Although the Yankees did loan him to the Red Sox for one fateful season, 1967. Throw to first, but you know, I don't know if we'll ever see a pennant race as close as we did that 1967 season. Everybody was in it to the last day.
Right down to the wire.
I think the surprise team to that point, aside from the Red Sox, Eddie Stanky's White Sox. That could be in there, and Ward has to play it on the hop. He's had a couple of dives. He caught one, he short hopped one, and this one he played smart because you don't want to get that lead runner any further around the bases. So Johnson stops at second. Madison has his 2nd hit of the night, and Jeff Schulz is up.
And that is the 10th hit now off of Columbus pitching tonight. 8 of those 10 have been singles. A good Royal performance.
Well, here's one of the guys who has one of the 2 extra base hits. He doubled his first time up. That was in the 2nd inning. And then he moved to 3rd on a wild pitch, and the Royals left him there. So this is a big part of the game for the Royals also. They'd love to get that 3rd run pushed across. Mike Loggins is on deck. Goes after that first pitch and fouls it back. The Royals, as we said, a game behind Denver and Iowa in the Western Division of the American Association. The Royals 6 games over 500 at 37 and 31. Both the Zephyrs and Cubs are at 38 and 30. 0-1 pitch. Hit in the air to center field. Kelly toward the gap in left, and he makes the 100 grab. Now the Royals come up with no runs, a couple of hits. There were no errors, and they left 2 runners on. And the score after 8 is Omaha 2 and Columbus nothing. Don't go away. We're coming back for the top of the ninth. And as Fred said earlier, it'll be Berto Pena, Jamie Nelson, and Roberto Kelly, unless Bucky Dent pinch hits for one of those or all of those three, but I don't think he's going to he'll let Kelly take his cuts for sure.
Oh, no question. And it does look like there is a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle. Number 18 swinging a bat, and that is Pete Delana.
And it will be, well, Delana's on the on-deck circle.
Oh, okay, so 15 is this. This is a new one. There he is, Glenn Sherlock. Glenn Sherlock, who we had penciled in to start the ball game at catcher and did not start, is now hitting here in the 9th inning.
Well, a lefty facing the right-handed Aquino. And Luis starts him off with the ball outside. Castro even with the bag at third base. And Delana will be the next hitter. Swing and a miss for a strike.
1,348 people on hand tonight. Official paid attendance. And they're seeing a dandy. Sherlock's average 294, 1 homer and 5 RBIs on the season.
Pitch is outside and high, 2 balls and a strike. As the night wears on, it's getting hazier and hazier.
And muggier, it feels like.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's very humid up here tonight.
But I do want to point out the haze is due to the weather and nothing else. Foul. We'll go into the seats. Now into the alleyway between the grandstand and the bleachers out there in left field. Sherlock came into this game batting 294. He had a home run and 5 RBIs. Counts even at 2-2. Fills it up at 3-2.
Here we go again. Quino now is trying to pitch just a little tighter, maybe a little, feeling it a little bit himself, and doesn't want to give up something too good, and so he's running the string out here in about the last 4 out of the last 6 batters.
3-2 pitch. Walked him. Second batter of the night, and the leadoff hitter this inning.
Double play! Double play!
So that'll bring up Pete Delana, pinch hitting for Jamie Nelson. Delana on the year, batting 227. He has 3 home runs and 21 runs batted in. So Glenn Sherlock at first base. This is only the second time tonight that Aquino has allowed anyone on base. He walked Casey Close in the 8th inning.
With 2 outs, this is the first time a leadoff man's got on, obviously.
Well, they need 2 runs and not 1, so we'll see what happens. He's swinging away. Offensively, you like to avoid the force out, but in this situation, you can't afford to sacrifice the hitter to move the runner over because you're still going to be down a run even if that guy does score. Oh, 1 the count to Delana. Pitch is high, 1-1. A lot of room down the right field line as Jeff Schultz is playing toward the gap.
Glenn Ezell has made a decision to go with Aquino the entire route because nothing is stirring in the bullpen.
Change-up, big change-up. Oh, what a balloon.
I'm telling you, you could read the label, count the stitches, and still the ball hadn't arrived at home plate yet.
Oh, man. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Outside. balls, 2 strikes.
Just missed.
The crowd's going to ooh and ah, even if he throws it so far west, the people at Bennington can see it. Two the count. Big change up, and he missed. 3-2.
Upstairs. He's really working them fine now, and now we're going to get some action. Now 2 runners on. Now we get the game in danger. Forget everything else. We got to have a victory, so we're going to have some activity in the bullpen, and we'll see if we can pick up a number here.
And Larry Owen just came out of the Royals dugout and headed down toward the bullpen, saying we need somebody to warm up. Looks like they're going to have a left-hander. 3-2 pitch. Hit, foul down the left field line into the Royals bullpen. It'll go into the seats. Three and 2 the count still now to Pete Delana. Now we've got a lefty and a righty.
Yeah, number 30 and number 19 warming up. If we can get a roster, we'll tell you who that is.
Bob Buchanan is the left-hander, and the righty is Rick Lucan. Delana's still alive. 3-2 pitch. Foul. Oh, and he bounces right into that young fan's hands, and he'll go home happy tonight.
Certainly will.
Those are the best kind of baseballs you can get as a youngster. The foul balls at a ballpark.
The ones you chase down and get.
That's right. Of course, I don't know if I'd like to be in that group that chases those home runs over the left field fence at Candlestick. That's kind of crazy. That one's hit on a shot. It could be caught, and it is on the run. Mike Loggins chased it down. The ball started out, but it just hung up there in this heavy air. And the runner has to retreat to first base, so we have 1 out. Sherlock still on first, and Roberto Kelly. Kelly, of course, looking for his first hit. Popped to second in the first. He went down swinging in the 4th and in the 7th.
And Loggins is a lot like Kelly in the way he covers center field. If that ball was high enough, you know he was going to get it.
Billy Martin said go to Double-A, Roberto. You stink.
Boy, they getting on Kelly.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Kelly belongs in New York City and not in Columbus, and definitely not in Double-A. This man can play the game.
Kelly, he can play at the major league level.
He certainly can.
Fouled it off the fist.
Oh, almost. That's the same guy they booed a little while ago when he leaned over and tried to get that rebound shot.
Right. That's right.
And now he wanted to throw it back out.
No balls at a strike. As you might imagine, Aquino hasn't paid any attention to the runner at first base. Inside, swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes.
Well, I don't know. They're not on their feet yet, but they certainly should for this young man. He has been pitching a magnificent baseball game tonight.
Lefty-righty combination still throwing in the Royals bullpen. Time is called as we
There's
have
a loose ball back there by the screen. Came out of the Royals bullpen.
You can tell everybody is into this game up in the press box. Everybody is leaning forward, and if there's a window in front of them, it's opened, and they're hanging out of this thing. No balls, 2 strikes to Roberto Kelly. 1 out. We're in the top of the 9th. Aquino's pitch fouled at the plate.
Kelly stays alive.
Well, that's the name of the game as a hitter, because right now, Kelly, I'll tell you what, we could have a tie game in 1 swing.
Oh, yep. Oh, he's capable of doing it. He hit one here Saturday that landed 3 rows into the left field bleachers, 3 rows from the top. So he's got the power.
0-2 pitch. Oh, strike 3. Got him on a changeup. Strikeout number 11 on the night, and there's 2 down.
And now they're starting to stand up. I see people motioning, get up, get up.
Well, who's it going to be? Turner Ward is due up.
And here comes the trainer. Did Aquino do something on that last delivery?
No, I think I think he broke he was wearing a chain, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I think maybe it might have broken.
Nick Capper's out there.
Oh, please, Nick. Not Capra, Schwartz. Go
Schwartz, yeah.
Yeah, don't scare us. Well, I'll tell you, they are clapping now, and it's up to Turner Ward. Royals lead this game 2-0. They win it tonight. They take the series with the Clippers before they head on the road. Well, actually, Toledo comes in for 2 games, Tuesday and Wednesday. Turner Ward was called out on strikes, flied to right, and went down swinging.
Crowd hushes just as the pitch comes in. I love it.
Madison releases on first. He had been holding the runner for the last 2 batters, but he's going to release now. Castro, even with the bag, down at third. 1-0 count to Ward. Aquino's pitch. Outside and high, ball 2. 2-0 now. This place is buzzing. Balls, no strikes. Strike one, swing and a miss.
He still can call a little reserve back, can he, when he needs it?
But he popped that one. Two-one pitch. Foul back, 2-2. So deuces are wild on the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out.
2-0.
That's right.
Well, whoever scheduled tonight's telecast knew what they were doing.
Thank you, Fred.
Crowd on their feet.
Fills it up in 3-2.
Little high. I think it had the corner, but it was a little high.
Yeah. You got to earn them. In this situation, you got to earn them. 3-2. Runner on first. The runner will be going. Here she comes. Popped up and it'll go out of play. Matter of fact, it's going to go over the press box behind us. So the tension mounted, and now we got to do it again.
All over. One more once.
Excellent, excellent ball game by Luis Aquino. They quit throwing in the bullpen. They're all watching.
They're watching. 2 over the minimum is all he's faced, and those were both walks.
Villardello with the sign. Aquino to the stretch. Here it comes. And that one's lined foul down the left field.
Well, neither one giving in. That's the way it should be.
You know,
they're in no man's land.
We're all caught up with the by the performance by Aquino, but you have to tip your hat to Turner Ward. He's in a pressure situation.
Yes, he is, and he's played a wonderful ball game too, defensively.
Oh, sure.
And, you know, he's got to keep things going. Don't forget, this is not a schlock ball club.
No.
This is Columbus.
It's a contender for their division.
That's right.
That one hit high in the air. That'll also go into the bleachers down the left field line. So Aquino
wants it to happen with Turner Ward. He's not giving in to Turner, and Turner's not giving in to him.
Aquino with the big exhalation. All the Royals up on the top step. We're going to go again. He did it! He did it! Luis Aquino has thrown a no-hitter!
guarantee you don't take that pitch when there's a no-hitter on the line. Guarantee it. Turner Ward did, and now he's walking to the dugout. Beautiful job by Luis Aquino.
What a ball game. Well, I'll tell you, in television production lingo, this is a keeper.
Yeah.
Oh, man, look at that. No runs and no hits.
The scoreboard operator flashing the 0 up there on your hits.
Luis Aquino, now we'll do it. Yes, sir.
No-hitter. Good job. They just give him the bucket act. The Bill Parcells bucket act.
Luis Aquino, as Fred said, he faced 2 over the minimum, and they were both walks, 1 in the 8th, 1 this inning. There you see it.
You don't want to leave the field.
Oh, I don't
He's
blame
still
him.
up there talking and yakking with Bill Ardello, who called the ball game, and Glenn Ezell, his manager.
You think he's going to go to bed early tonight?
No way. He's going to ice that arm down besides his back, I'll tell you that.
2 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Royals. No runs, no hits, and no errors for the Clippers. The winning pitcher, Luis Aquino, ups his record to 4-3. And I'll tell you personally, this is a thrill for me, Fred. As I said, I saw 1 on television. I listened to 2 no-hitters on radio, but I've never had the chance to call one in the broadcast booth, and this has really been
Well,
exciting.
it's a first here also. As we talked earlier, I called a couple Sandlot games, high school no-hitters. Of course, watched Allie Reynolds pitch 2 in 1 season, but that's a name from the past for you. But this is great. To broadcast one and feel the tension right at the park and be a part of it, it's great.
Well, there's really not much more you can say. He kept them off the base paths. I'll tell you one thing, the Royals' defense has been better as the year's gone on, and tonight it was pretty good too.
Well, this is their 5th game now without an error, and defense, and when you're going to be a banjo hitters, you know, and they got 10 hits tonight, but 8 of them were singles, 2 runs, maybe not enough to win a ball game most of the time, but if you play the good defense and get the great pitching, which they got tonight, obviously, you're going to win, and they're still in the thick of the pennant race.
Well, you know, the thing that gets me about this whole thing is about the 6th inning is when you started feeling it, and in the 4th inning, Aquino hadn't thrown any walks. He had some strikeouts, then he started mowing them down with ground balls and strikeouts. In the 6th inning, is when Frank Atkinson went back to the radio side, he left, he says, okay, now Fred's coming back, don't you guys blow this.
And, you know, he got behind some batters. He was running the string 3-2, 3-2. Was being very careful, didn't want to give up that hit on a bad pitch. And yet, you know, you could see he was tiring a little. I'd like to know the pitch count because he had an awful lot of them, but it was a great ball game.
Well, the final again, Royals 2 runs, 10 hits, no errors. And for the Clippers of Columbus, no runs, no hits, no errors. Luis Aquino with a no-hitter for the Omaha Royals, and they win it right here on Cox Cable Live by a score of 2-0. I'm Torrey Pantaleon for Fred Girardi, producer-director Carol Edgren, and everybody else from the Cox Cable Omaha Sports Production crew. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you someplace where there's a ball game. Bye-bye, everybody.